Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley 2. A lot of people are saying that they didn't want to see this rematch, but it basically it happened because of the fact that Tommy Fury pulled out, and Jake spiced it up and brought intrigue by adding in that 500K win knockout bonus. But I wanted to see the rematch after the first fight. I know people, a lot of people are like, "Oh, I already saw him beat him once." I don't need to see it again. I mean, besides the fact that Tyron did wobble him, and it looked like some of the rounds were pretty close. Um, I I would like to see if Tyron can give it one last, give a true good faith effort, because he still has the heart of the champion. I know that a lot of people say he's not the same. I mean, you could also argue that he really didn't change. It's just that other fighters changed because he never really had a lot of output. But you know, I I still want to see him fight and really fight with his heart out. And there's a couple of factors looking at this fight. Now, first of all, Tyron stepping in on short notice. He did say that he had a feeling that this fight was going to fall out, so he was training for it. But on the other hand, if you look at the weigh-ins, he does look a little soft relative to how he looked last time around. Now, that doesn't really mean much because Tyron, even when he quote unquote looks soft, still looks in amazing shape. I mean, the guy's clearly shredded, and maybe, carrying a little bit less muscle will help him in terms of the cardio. Again, I'm just speculating here. I still favor Jake Paul to win. I've been jumping back and forth on whether to grab him by knockout or by decision. So the last time I checked, so I know that early on, just money line, he was as high as minus 275. Then recently he dropped to minus 225. And the prop bets by decision was plus 125. By knockout was like plus 225, if I'm remembering correctly. It's approximate. I've been jumping back and forth between whether I'm going to just take a money line, which is kind of a steep price to pay, minus 225, or if I can maybe grab him by decision or by knockout. Um, I feel like Tyron is, before Jake Paul, it looked like he looked like he really had a lot of knockout power when he just starched Ben Askren and starched Nate Robinson. I would argue that the Ben Askren stoppage was short, but it never really looked, Tyron in the first fight, he never really looked in danger of getting stopped. Now, mind you, he is, he's always getting older. And I think what Jake Paul is hoping with this win bonus, not only is to intrigue the audience, is for Tyron to come out reckless, like he did against Vicente Luque, and for Jake Paul, for himself, to seize the opportunity and knock Tyron out. But I think that Tyron is still pretty damn durable. I mean, Vicente ended up catching him with a choke, not with punches, even though he kind of rocked Tyron. And by the way, if you remember the fight against Gilbert Burns, Gilbert rocked Tyron a bunch of times, but Tyron's a pretty durable guy. I mean, I think he got knocked out by Nate Marquardt really badly way back in the day, but in general, he's a pretty durable guy. I don't know if Jake Paul will be able to put him away. And on the other hand, the other factor that's pretty interesting is Jake Paul is really looking past Tyron. He's even straight up admitting it. And he does look better. He looks more fit than he did last fight. And it makes sense. I mean, he's a young guy. He's in his 20s. He's going to be progressing so much. Arguably, I would say that Tyron's also progressing. So, with all these factors in mind, I would definitely take Jake Paul. But for some reason, I do see a decision. I see it's possible that there could be firefights where some of them might get, where Tyron might get hurt, and it's possible that Tyron rocks Jake and both might get hurt. And then I think that this one will be actually a much better fight than the first one, but for some reason I foresee a decision. So I think the play is Jake Paul by decision. But honestly, I've been jumping around between Jake Paul by knockout and Jake Paul by decision. So I would advise maybe to grab minus 225. Man, honestly, I would say, yeah, I think so. I mean, I was going to say that, it's hard to bet against Woodley because I think he did pretty well in the last fight, even though at the end he kind of froze up. He did catch Jake Paul, but it seems like even if he catches him, he doesn't have the wherewithal to just kind of go for the finish because he's scared of gassing himself out. So I think that if he can't finish Jake Paul, he's probably not going to win a decision. Very unlikely. But I think the play is Jake Paul by decision. The safest thing would be Jake Paul minus 225. But if you're willing to take a little bit of a moral risk and accept a bigger reward, I would say Jake Paul by decision. I mean, yeah, I think so. So yeah, thanks everyone for listening, and please like and subscribe. Thanks.